Hello to all. Fred Wilson here, checking in with my smiling face, I guess. We've been laughing a little bit as we here fairly recently had gone through, prepping for the release of the ProductionModel 2.0 online program, and it's got my photos in it. And there are times where the thing I'm talking about is a little bit serious or like frustrating for the concept, something agents are battling with in their business, and I'm smiling my photo. So I asked the guys, shouldn't we have some other photos? And they said, no, we don't want to put anything in there but smiles. Anyway, sort of fun. But to you, an insider, it's fun to share. And if you're listening to this at some point and you're not a member, you don't have a lifetime license, because remember, all you 1.0 early adopters, you get grandfathered into the 2.0 program. Woohoo! I love that. And it's really exciting. It's a big effort though. And again, if you're listening to this and you're not a member, you don't have access to the program, you should rectify that. It always amazes me still. I guess I gotta talk about this for a minute. The other day I spoke to a group of a little less than 100 agents, and post-COVID, you're just starting to get back into the live seminars, the live groups more and more. But they come up to me and say, well, we're joining the program. A couple of them said, we've already joined, and then they don't. And it's not because the program isn't any good or they don't like me. It's that people, that's how we are, right? We're all people. We tend to, not take action immediately. I was watching one of my favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, I don't think I talked about this last week. Maybe I did. But it's Joy with Jennifer Lawrence, and she's, been beaten down by life, and yet she's an entrepreneur that has these invention ideas, and she works her way, up through that world. And there's a scene where Bradley Cooper's her co-star, where he says, it takes 9 times to get people's attention. They do nothing 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, but on the 9th time, they take action. So we'll see in terms of, the coaching getting out there, and my team, the Fred Wilson Coaching, and me, myself, and Fred, right? Our presence out there on the internet around the world. I'm now regularly being featured in articles and doing, interviews on talk shows and podcasts, and there'll be, email outreach and all those things. So we'll see how that goes. And if we start to get those touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, who knows? When I was new in the business, had I heard about something like this, I would have just found the money and done it. That simple. I am not the type that wants to wait. I'm the type that wants to go forward if I've got something I believe in. Of course, there's always the issue of belief. Does one believe it? But of course, you wouldn't be here if you, I think, didn't believe it. And I just had a call from an agent that I had taught the production model to many years ago, probably now almost 10 years ago. And he said he just cannot believe what I've pulled together in the form of the new book and the program, which his son is taking, who's a relatively new agent. He said it must have been so difficult to pull all that information together, and it was. But now that it's in one place, it's fantastic. Again, just the other day, somebody was at my house and they asked, do you have a copy of your book I could buy? They weren't in the real estate business, but he says, that what little I've seen and heard about it, it'll apply to almost anybody in any business, he said. And he did. He bought a book. Not that I keep any at my house. I happen to have 3 copies here. And it's fascinating, but boy, the effort, putting all the information in the book. And what's interesting is what's in the book is what's in the online program, the new release. It's just the new release goes into detail, and we have all kinds of examples, and we have exercises and worksheets, and you're talked through and walked through sort of everything that's in the book. It's a course really on the book in a way, you could say. You could say the book is the primer really for the course, you could say. I will, and this isn't going out on a limb. This is me standing on a true foundation of understanding and you know, wisdom. There isn't an agent in the world that shouldn't read this book. It will help everyone significantly. Same with the course, but you know, few people are going to, you know, relative to the 5-6 million agents around the world, you know, you aren't going to have a million of them take the course. It's just not how it works. Of course, I'd be the richest human being on the planet, probably just about if that happened too. And I don't think a million are gonna read the book, but certainly you might get tens of thousands, you know, of people reading the book and thousands of people taking the course. So again, it's interesting how not everybody takes action right away. And this, of course, is a little bit of a segue into talking about the real estate industry and the concept of success in real estate sales as individual agents, which is what we're all wanting to do, right? Succeed more often in real estate sales, make more money faster and easier, as I like to say. It's always good if you can do that. But this thing called the real estate industry is set up in a way, as I often say, where agents are going to fail, and statistically, nearly 90% of all agents do fail to succeed and get out of the business. You know, or many of them hang around in the business, but they're failing. They have a license, but they're not able to do business regularly. And this is because of how the industry is set up with this whole presentation mode thing. Now, I was just talking about getting the word out with the coaching around the world on the internet and how many impressions you have to get with someone before they take action. And so that gets brought into the real estate world, that reality of online sales and people's initial inaction. And it gets converted into practice in the real estate business. And there are actual courses out there teaching social media, and that you've got to get people to know, like, and trust you over time. And that all has its place, but that's not now modeling, that's future modeling. And most agents go broke trying to do that. That's just the reality. That's the unvarnished truth. So it's not that it's a bad thing, it's that most agents aren't going to figure it out and or be able to survive the time it takes for that to happen, let alone pay for the experience. And of course, the non-income in the meantime, you're paying for that too. So again, I'm you know, preaching to the choir here, but the production model is a now model, and it's about, you know, being able to identify business sooner versus later. And it doesn't surprise me anymore, but it amazes me. Here I am in my 32nd year in the business, I think. Some of you have been in the business longer than I am. As I look at the list of the people here, you know who you are, and some are new, brand new, some a year or two, 3, 5, you know. So, but after some 30 plus years in the business, um, I'm no longer surprised, but I am amazed when I'm just doing whatever it is I'm doing, but I'm in discovery talking with someone and I identify a new actionable direction with a client, right? And it's amazing what can happen in terms of income when you develop that muscle, if you will, that ability to talk with people in discovery mode and get reveals of actionable directions you otherwise would have missed. For example, I had an open house a couple of weeks ago, and this couple wandered in, and they were coming in. And this is one of the reasons people go to open houses statistically, is to check out what the agent's doing, what that house is doing relative to their house, which they're thinking about putting on the market. So I got into a discussion of discovery with this couple, and they sort of freely offered to me that they wanted to get their house sold, and you know, maybe I'd want to come over and see it. And I did. I went over to see it, and it's a cute little house. Um, I would say she has a higher opinion of value than he does. He may be the more correct, but you know, this is in the $600,000 to $700,000 range. You know, it's not the Taj Mahal, cute little 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house, right in an area where I've sold a lot of properties traditionally over the decades. And so that has become a pocket listing at the moment. because until I find them a property to buy, because it turned out they're also shoppers, but that house they came into wasn't big enough for them and the lot wasn't big enough for them. And again, I find this out having a discussion of discovery. Other people are milling around the open house, but you can only, deal with one person at a time. And that's just how it works. And you take your best shot. Anyway, so this couple, wanted to go, try and keep it under 1.2 million was on their purchase. Anyway, I had this other couple that I actually met as a referral from a past client. Happily so, that happens sometimes. And they were shopping for a property and wanting to stay in the 1.5 range, but that ballooned up to 2.5. And then I got into a negotiation with them on a property that was listed at 3.750, and the negotiations kind of fizzled out in the 3.25 range. And now we're going to go in a different direction. But I called this other couple that set up to 1.2 just to tell them about this house, because this house has the character and the charm and the uniqueness and the setting and the view and the location of what they want, but it's just, 2 to 3 times more. Anyway, they're now thinking about putting an offer in on this property. And again, when you stay in discovery, and this is a good segue now, and you vend opportunity, which is kind of what I wanted to talk about today in terms of today's lesson specifically, the agendized lesson, because my team and I, we come up with a little, discussion point for the lesson. And this whole vending opportunity thing leads into the whole idea of a propertunity. What's a propertunity? And right there in module 3 of your online program, whether you have the 1.0 version still, or since it's been released, the 2.0, it's there in module 3 in segment 11, I think it is, what's a propertunity? So I'll talk about that a little bit more, but jump back into that vending opportunity concept, because that's what I did with this couple. I got back to them and I remained opportunative in my mind, meaning open to the 3-dimensionality of opportunity and the fact that people's lives are changing. And it turns out that this couple has decided to sell a house that's worth $2.5 million up in Monterey in Northern California. That it's in their portfolio. They're renting it, but they've decided they're gonna sell it. And so that changed the 1.2 million budget up towards 3 million. See, I didn't know any of that happened. All I know is that change is constant, that it's always happening in people's lives. And so I've got to stay talking to people, not in the sense of, nervous chatting or, hey, just having conversations because it's a numbers game. No, in the sense of discovery. That is my ethos as an agent. I would say my ethos, and what I would hope for you, is that you think, possibility is always in flux, and we don't really always know. And one of my little pet peeves as a coach is the saying, anything is possible. And I love the optimistic sentiment of it, by the way. I'm not against the be optimistic thing. But the truth is, if you really stop and think it through, which I have, because I'm that kind of guy that stops and thinks through those sorts of things, anything is not possible. Just stop and think about it. You can't flap your arms and fly, okay? You can learn to fly by building an airplane or buying one or what have you, right? And there are other modes, but the point is, some things aren't possible. That doesn't mean, though, that you have to stop dreaming or trying to figure out ways to make it happen. That's how, progress and invention occurs. The saying I like, that I think is also equally optimistic, maybe even more so, is instead of anything is possible, amazing is possible. See, I think it's amazing that this couple would wander into an open house, and I found the open house by talking to a neighbor whose life changed, i.e. he retired, and they impulsively bought a house out of state to be near relatives, and so now they want to sell. And I get to talking to people about this, and through that open house, I come up with two new listings, and one, maybe two new buyers. Now another agent brought in the buyer on this property, and good for those folks. It was a couple nice agents. Um, uh, but one of the people who came in that has now become a listing of mine, currently a pocket listing, but will graduate into a full listing. But they are that $1.2 million buyer that now, because their life changed and they've decided to sell this house in Northern California that's worth $2.5 million, their budget is now different. And where they're going to stay and spend more time is different than what they were thinking. Change happened. And see, I find it amazing that that process of talking to the neighbor, the open house, their life changing, deciding to sell, thus the open house, then the people coming in, I get into a conversation with them, a discussion of discovery, found out they have a house that they want to sell, that they don't want to buy this house. I go see that house. We talk to them about it. I found out what they want to buy, and it, doesn't seem to be available necessarily. And then I get into this other negotiation with this other couple of clients, doesn't work out, but I vend that as an opportunity. I call the clients at 1.2 million and tell them about it, because this has the essence of what they want. It's a lot more money, but I wasn't thinking they would buy it. I figure it's a good segue to keep talking about, seeing what's happening with them and how change in life is or is not affecting their real estate needs, and find out they want to sell this house in Northern California. And bingo, now they're about to put an offer in on this other property. It's amazing to me, because through all of that, that will bring in maybe $250,000 in commission if you add it all up. And isn't that amazing that you can, through this process in a relatively short period of time, generate that kind of income? Where can you do that in the world? It'd probably have to be an illegal occupation to do that kind of return. I mean, I will have put, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours into that whole effort, and it will yield that kind of return. Now, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's only $25,000. But last time I checked, $25,000 is not chump change, and it's $25,000 I didn't have. And that's the promise of the production model to people. You can add another $10, $20, $30, $40,000, $50,000 each month to your bottom line if you'll get in this mode of talking with people in discovery and then vending opportunity to A, see how change is affecting their lives, discovery, and B, get the lean in or not, right? See, that's the whole point of vending opportunity, is to see if something is of benefit to someone. And if a property has inherent value in some way, it's beneficial, therefore, in some way, and you tend to get lean in, or people pay attention, or maybe they have even real interest, maybe even overt interest. It's like when I told this couple about this one house that was over $3 million, I still didn't know that their life had changed and they were going to sell in Northern California, but they leaned in. They were so interested in this thing I was telling them that I knew was not for them. Haha, I knew, right? Because I didn't know life had changed for them in a way that affected their real estate wants and needs. And this is why you have to be in discovery mode. This is why you pose test questions. This is why you vend opportunity to see what's possible. And the results can be literally amazing. But it no longer surprises me, because it's happened to me for decades, and it continues to happen to this very day. So it's a fascinating, incredible, business we're in. And I just continue to, I guess, feel amazed that this is such a rich vein, the production model, now modeling, of doing business. Again, not anti-future model, not anti-presentation domination. Well, maybe I'm presentation domination anti. Okay. I think you can be in presentation mode, and do your marketing and your brand building and your outreach and your promotions and making an impression and on all of that. Okay. But don't you want to have that club in your bag where you meet someone, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, and you find out through discovery and vending opportunity and asking questions, which is what discovery mode is about in essence. It's really, I guess at its essence, about getting information to flow your way. And that involves asking questions. See, in the industry where all the coaches and managers, mentors, veterans, teachers, where they fall down, and I don't mean anything against anybody, but they just don't have my extensive level of practice over so long of selling real estate, right? They teach asking questions, and I'm not against asking questions, but that isn't the essence of what the money making business generation comes from. It's not the asking questions that matters, it's that you're getting information to come your way, which you do by asking questions, but it's this learning to be in that flow, to make that your ethos as an agent. Discovery. I often find myself saying, I said to this group the other day, this 100 agents or so, I said, I'm not in the real estate sales business. I'm in the real estate discovery business, right? And I said to the crowd, I said, what business are we in? And somebody goes, real estate, and I said, real estate what? And somebody goes, sales, and then one guy says, no, we're in the people business. Haha, right? That's good, right? And I said, I love that, but okay, so we're in the people business. What do we got to do with the people? Well, we got to take care of them. One guy says, we got to convert them into business. And this is the old school way of thinking, right? And I want you to take care of people. And I hope that people you're dealing with turn into business, but it's really about being in discovery with people. Most fundamentally, we are in the discovery business. That's where the money is. I was working on an article just recently, and for the umpteenth time, I was writing, discovery, the ability to operate in discovery mode is the high skill in the business. It's where the money is. That's where I make all my money. I'm the guy who, by talking to people, finds out how change, which is inexorably happening in their lives, is affecting their lives. And is that having an effect on their real estate wants and needs? Look at that little deal chain I just talked about 10, 15 minutes ago. I'm out in front of my house and I get to talking to a neighbor 2 doors down. Oh, life's changing. Bought a house impulsively out of state. Hey, let's get this on the market. I list that. A couple comes in. They're not really thinking of buying that house, but they have a house that they want to sell, but they're not ready yet because they got to buy something. What do they got to buy? Oh, their budget's at 1.2. I find this other opportunity. I get into a negotiation. The negotiation fizzles. I decide because it has the sense of what those $1.2 million buyers would like, even though it's more money, I'd talk to them about it, conversationally, not thinking that they would buy it necessarily, but hope their life changed in a way I didn't know. They're going to sell in Northern California for 2.5 and it'll sell instantly right up there. And then now they're going to be down here more, and hey, their budget went up to 3 million, and game on this other property. This is how it works. It's not about putting on a show. It's not about making an impression. It's not about outreach to the public. That has its place, and it can be about that. But again, statistically, most agents fail when they do that. It takes too much breakage. Breakage would be time, know-how, effort, money. Most agents don't make it. And the ones who do, they end up on a billboard with their arms crossed. I'm the number one agent. And good for them, by the way, good for them. But then everybody in the brokerage tells them to emulate them. And that's going to be the thing that most agents can't do successfully. And they go under. Or worse, they're stuck in going nowhere in the business. They're not making money. Not making enough money. They're not making the kind of money they could be making with far less breakage. You see, with the production model, I've never met an agent who learned it and applied it consistently who didn't quickly start making a lot more money. Now, I've met many agents who won't learn it all. I have this one guy, he keeps telling me, or he was telling me, but where does it give the live dialogues where I can actually see and hear what you're doing? I don't need the other side. I need that. Totally preempting all the other learning in the program. And we do have live dialogues like that. They're pretty dang cool too. But he was just jumping ahead. That's why when people join the production model and the new production model pro, I tell them first in the opening monologue, there I am, Fred on film, just like here, I guess. And I'm saying the way to do this is step by step to follow the table of contents. Yes, you can jump around, but don't do that first. First, go from start to finish, go through the whole thing. And then if you want, maybe you don't do the exercises and you go back and do those then, although I would recommend you do them as you go. But then once you've been through the whole thing, you can start jumping around. And I hear this from members. They go into certain sections and they go, oh, this thing jumped out at me. Somehow I missed it the first time. Or I wanted to go back and review how that one thing works. You know, I was reading in your book and then I went into the program and, you know, I got reoriented on that one concept. So it's a fabulous set of tools that are available for learning. But again, when you learn it and you apply it, it has an effect. And what is that effect? Identifying actionable directions of business you otherwise would be missing, and doing that without all the hoopla of the future model. So again, it's a powerful thing. I find it amazing, you know, the success that you can experience and that I experience, but it is a skill thing. It's not a systems thing. Okay. And yeah, there's a lot to it. It's the online program is the equivalent, you know, of a mini masters in university, really, on you know, now modeling. And you know, now modeling takes a few specific things to happen. I often mention that success in real estate sales from a now model standpoint, meaning you wake up in the morning, you don't have any business, but maybe by the end of the day, you have a new actionable direction of business. Or certainly this week, you know, within the month, near term, not this long-term career delayed fuse thing. You know, the old question with brokers of new real estate agents, you know, of wannabe agents. You know, do you have enough savings to survive until your business kicks in? They're admitting right off the bat that the agent isn't going to make any money. And that does not need to be the case. It is not true. If you learn the production model and you actually practice it. And I have testimonials from new agents that have learned it and stuck with it and woo, you know, taken off when people that they're friends of theirs in the same position have done nothing. So again, this this thing called success with a now model is a compound element. There are 4 things you got to have. You got to have opportunity, because if you don't have any opportunity, what's the point, right? You got to have a possibility, which means if you don't have a chance, what's the point? Okay. And opportunity and possibility are different things. Opportunity would be, you know, things that you can do that help you to make money. Somebody buying, somebody selling would constitute opportunity in real estate sales. Okay. Whereas possibility is the chance to have opportunity. And that comes by talking to people. Okay. So you got to get your mind in the right place and you got to be talking to people. That means doing the right things fundamentally. So those are 2 of the elements. Opportunity and possibility. Then comes discovery. I've been alluding to this. I said discovery is the high skill in the business. Discovery, getting the flow of information to come your way, not just asking questions, right? This is one of the most popular questions I'm asked as a coach. What questions should I ask? And yes, there are some dynamite questions, but the problem with dynamite questions is they don't always fit the situation you're in, and that list runs out, which means discovery isn't happening anymore. What I'm talking about is the process of discovery as an ethos, as a way of being in the real estate business, as your norm. So it's not just asking a list of questions or knowing the right questions. It's the ability to stay in discovery mode, to ask questions improvisationally on an impromptu basis, ad lib, but in a way that's effective. That's skill. And this is what I teach with these skills like the ask to listen technique or triangulation for truth or the 4 questions right here in the book. I went into that more in detail than I did in the online program. So the one supplements the other now. I love that. But vending opportunity is another one of these skills that, you know, is germane to what's a proper opportunity. So you got to have these basic elements, these 4 basic elements. And I've talked about opportunity a little bit, I've talked about possibility a little bit, talked about discovery just now. And that 4th one is urgency, right? You have to be able to make today pay. If you don't have the urgency to make today pay, if you're stuck working today to try and get the future to pay, you're done. statistically, it's over for you. Overwhelmingly over. Now, you're not a statistic. So when I say you, I don't mean you as an individual. Okay? If there's 100 agents, though, 87 or more are going to fail. It's a statistical reality. If they're stuck today trying to make the future pay. You have to have the urgency of making today pay. A now model is about making today pay. And that means, therefore, you have to learn how to stay on that track. And we as human beings, what we do is we fall off track. That's what we do. So the question is, how effectively do you get back on track? And then, of course, staying on track for longer periods of time. And with the 2.0 program we're being released and the success tracker that comes with it, boy, does it elevate your ability to stay on track. So that's an exciting thing, but you got to have those 4 elements. You got to have them if you're going to create success now in the real estate business. And this is why the publishers on the front of the book wanted to write underneath my name down at the bottom. It says, crack the code to sales in real estate, to success in sales. Crack the code. And that's what these 4 elements are about. Now, to make it more colloquial, I talk about opportunity, possibility, discovery, urgency. Okay, these qualities, these things you got to have for success to occur. I could say it in a more, casual way. Opportunity. Okay, what you're thinking. Okay, how you're looking at opportunity. Okay, possibility. What you're doing. You got to be doing the right things and not the wrong things. And if you want business to happen, the right thing is talking to people. If you want to wait for business, it's communicating with them in other ways. Talking to people is the only way you get the now model thing to work regularly. So what you're thinking, what you're doing, then how you're doing it, that's discovery, talking with people in discovery mode and the skills attendant with that. I outlined those skills a moment ago. And then that 4th thing, urgency, is staying on track. Okay, staying on track is about making today pay and doing that consistently and not heading off in some different direction. And again, it's normal for us to fall off track. Humans naturally have some at different levels, but we all suffer from what I call the bling effect, shiny object, and off we go. And then later, and the problem is sometimes it's in, 5 minutes later, sometimes it's 5 hours later, but sometimes it's, for some agents, 5 weeks later, months later, and they go, I got to get back on track. They've been, in this rabbit hole off somewhere. So staying on track, so important. So what you're thinking, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and are you actually doing it? Staying on track. Are you actually doing that? These are the things that matter and why I think it was accurate to write crack the code to success in sales. It only took me 20 plus years. I'm a 20-year overnight success in terms of getting the information together. It took me a little less time, I would say, in real estate sales to get my act together, but it was certainly 6-7 years. Even though I was succeeding, I was, sailing with the anchor out often. I was fighting and resisting, but pushing hard enough, young man in the business, I'm going to climb my way up, I'm going to get through this. Now, I literally, in terms of real estate sales, spend no more than 5 days a week, or four actually. 5 was I misspoke, 4. And the truth is, I probably never put in more about 4 or 5 hours on those days, and yet I make more money than I ever have because I'm better at those 4 fundamental skills. The mindset piece, opportunity, what it is I'm thinking in relation to how opportunity works. And most agents have it wrong. I talk about 87, to 90% of all agents are going to fail in the business. 97 to 98%, my estimation is almost all agents, because they're people, and almost all people suffer from scarcity thinking. And they're not even aware of it. Some are, the ones that are really, I'm in my way, I'm so down, I'm so negative, or people say, you're so negative, don't be negative. You got to be more positive. It's great advice, but that's not the difference maker in real estate sales. The difference maker is going from negative to positive is just the beginning. Then it's going from scarcity thinking to opportunity, understanding that opportunity is latent, that it's always there, that your problem is never lack of opportunity. Your only challenge is lack of ability to recognize it, and that's a skill thing. So again, you got to have all these four things working together, and when you do, good things start to happen. And like I said earlier, the kind of segue here, these skills, one of which is vending opportunity, that is talking with people about something that could be of benefit to them. And that's what I did with this couple when I got back to them, and I stayed open to the three-dimensionality of opportunity. See, I know how opportunity works. It can happen anytime, any place, any form. And because of change in people's lives, opportunity is always shifting. And so when I spoke to them, even though they'd told me their budget was around 1.2, and I knew of this property that I'd been involved in on another completely different set of clients, a negotiation that didn't work out, but the house had that incredible feel that this couple had described to me. So not thinking, again, I mentioned this earlier, I wasn't thinking they would buy it, but I figured it would be a great segue into more discovery. But I didn't know their life had changed to Northern Cal, and they're selling, and boom, now game on with this other couple. So it's just amazing what can happen when you stay open to opportunity. And vending opportunity is a way of doing that. You don't know how people are going to react. It's just something really of value. It could be, I had an agent the other day who I've taught the production model say that one of the great things about this one opportunity that he has is it's got this incredible little elementary school just down the block. That makes it a opportunity that you know, the kids are going to be in the right school. Or I had somebody tell me this one house should never be demolished. It's a classic mid-century, and you know, that somebody should buy the property and restore it, and it would have this incredible unique value because of it. That's another kind of a opportunity. How about this lot that I'm just listing today, in fact, and I'm going to list it at $799, and it sits kind of up on the mountainside with beautiful views in this private little community, you know, right in South Palm Desert, right near El Paseo. Those of you who are around the world, you've heard of Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, you know, woo. Well, where we live in the desert here, you know, you've heard of the music festivals, Coachella. Okay, that's where we are in that area. We have El Paseo. It's our rodeo. Really incredible shopping, restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. This lot is like, I don't know, 5 minutes from all of that, but totally away from it all. Privacy, incredible views. See, what I'm doing right now is I'm vending opportunity to you. And I bet it kind of got the lean in. I'm sure you're thinking, whoa, you know, all that for $799? Now, let's say you're in a town outside of Des Moines, Iowa. And I love Des Moines. I've been there a couple times. Woohoo. And you know, in this town, a lot for $799 doesn't even exist. The most expensive lot in the whole town is not even $500,000. So it's a relative thing. But I can tell you that this lot, where we are in the Coachella Valley, okay, if a commensurate, you know, sort of equally rated by an appraiser lot was 2 hours away on the coast in Los Angeles, it'd be a $2 or $3 million lot. So, you know, again, it depends. But this lot, I found myself, you know, walking the ground and thinking, well, Beth and I, you know, we built, and this lot comes with a set of plans, a beautiful house. It's about, you know, 3,000 feet. It's got this wraparound pool, you know, with this incredible view, right? Sits up, whoop, like this. And the lot's all manufactured, ready to go. The thing is, you know, I asked myself, would we live here? The answer was immediate. Yeah. The only thing is, we already live in our dream spot, in our dream home that we built. I actually designed the house. Whew, got in over my head 30 years ago on that one. But figured it out and built this house that we love to this day. So we wouldn't be a candidate to do something like that. All right. But again, change is constant in life, right? So you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. What's that saying I often say? Prediction is difficult, especially about the future, right? I mean, come on. So this lot, somebody's going to want to buy this lot, and of course, I get to talking to the people that own the lot. I get into discovery, and I find out why they're selling the lot, and life has changed for them in some way. They have an East Coast, West Coast lifestyle coming and going, and the idea of building it just became overwhelming for them, and they've decided that they won't build. Now, I'm going to vend an opportunity property to them, and I wouldn't be surprised at all that they bought it. And if I vended a neat opportunity property to them and they bought it, I think they would be in that, $2 million range. Do the math. I make 50, 60, whatever, $1,000. I think that's pretty amazing. But it doesn't surprise me because I stay in this thing. One thing leads to another. Talking to people, staying in discovery, finding an actionable direction, matching that up with another actionable direction, talking to further people, finding out how change is affecting their lives, right? Vending opportunity, getting the lean in. That's what promotes the discovery of change, shows me interest that I didn't know about before. I'm open to this. It's the process that I'm in. And so vending opportunity is one of those things that I do, that I just did with you and that I did with that other couple and that I will do with this new couple on the lot, right? And see where it goes. I don't know where it'll go. I just need to find out. I'm in the discovery business and I'm not going to pressure anybody to do anything. And if they don't want to do it, that's fine. To me, a no is just as good as a yes. I understand that no is an acronym for next opportunity, right? Even if it's not going in that direction, but a fresh new direction, because I know there's always more opportunity. Why? Because everybody's changing and everybody lives somewhere. This is a perfect storm, people. It's rigged for you to succeed if you'll get in this lane, develop your skills in this lane, and stay in this lane. And you can keep all the other great things you've done. I'm looking at some of the names of you that I know that are here. You've been in the business a long time. You've developed a brand. I wish I had your brand. It's fabulous. So don't give up your brand and stay in touch with people the way you're doing, but keep working on this particular swing I'm talking about, because wouldn't it be good to add another 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month? All right. With really a change in the way you're looking at things and the way you're going about things, but no more effort, no more cost, and much more immediate in terms of return. Sure, it would. You know that. That's why you're here. So again, this vending opportunity thing points towards this agenda item ahead for today. What's a opportunity? There in module 3, go down on the compendium to the left side of your learning portal, down to what's a opportunity. Now, let's be specific. A opportunity. I created that term over 20 years ago. The idea, I still remember how it happened. I was in another country and I saw someone or a sign rather for shopping in a it was an area in England, a lot of rain and weather, and they had built this huge indoor shopping mall. They called it a shopping city. It's all indoors. And there was a sign that said a shopportunity. And I got to thinking about that, and then boom, boom, I thought opportunity, opportunity property, opportunity shopping. And so boom, I've been talking about it ever since. A opportunity is an opportunity property. What's an opportunity property? That's a property that's a threat to sell now for some reason. Could be the architecture, could be the location, could be the school district. It could be that the view, or maybe just the yard itself. Maybe the fact that it has this incredible pool complex, or that it doesn't have a pool. I've had clients out here in the deserts, Sun Central, who've said, we don't want a pool. So again, that could fit into it. It could be that it's just a certain neighborhood. It could be that it's a great deal. It could be that it's a development opportunity. Who knows, right? It's an opportunity property, a opportunity. So a opportunity is something that you would talk with someone about to get lean in or not. And that's what happened with the couple that came into the open house. And I then told them about this other property and they leaned in. Their life had changed. I vended this property, even though I wasn't predicting that it would sell or not, but I know that people do what's in their own best interest. This is called the principle of benefit and interest in achievement theory. Okay, the principle of benefit and interest. And I talk about it in my first book, The Third Law of Success, which I don't have a copy of it right here. I think there's one under that pile over there, but I've got the new book here. But in The Third Law of Success, I talk about these these key principles that we all observe, and we all do what's most important to us. That's how it works. And I once had a guy say to me, because I always encourage people when I'm talking to live groups, hey, if you got a zinger, you got something, you don't believe or you don't like, let me know, interrupt me. And he goes, I got a zinger for you. And I said, what's that? And he says, what do you say to the person that's got to sacrifice their whole life because they've been through a divorce and they don't have much money and they have 3 kids and they got to work 2 jobs and they're killing themselves. How does this apply to them? And the answer is, well, what's most important to them is the survival and the well-being of their children. That's more important to them than the other things that are for them. Now, you do run into some people where that's not more important, and you see kind of what can happen there. But Mother Teresa was doing what was most important to her, even though she lived in the slums and ghettos of Calcutta, saving souls and really just helping the local population to get through their day, the one crisis after the next with the downtrodden, right? That was her priority. That was what was most important to her. We all do that. And, we can't all be Mother Teresa, right? But we are all human beings, and we all observe the principle of benefit and interest. We do what's in our own best interest. How we interpret what that is that, selfless or selfish, we still do it based on what's important to us. Okay. And, I like to think with myself as wealth develops that, I'll be helping more people. That's one of the reasons why I do these courses, is I want to help people achieve the kind of level of success they want to achieve. And I've had other zingers nod in and say, well, yeah, but you're making money off that. Well, sure, I make money off this. Shouldn't I make a fair fee for, people being able to 10x to 100x their income? Sure, that's fair. A nominal fee for that. How about 1000x the fee? I've had people do that. 1000x the fee for my program. Okay, so it's worth it. And sure, I should get paid something. But as I do better, I want to help others do better. And even if I'm not doing better, I still want to help other people do better. I will be a coach till the day I die. I will be trying to help people succeed. And it's the old, rather than giving someone a fish, teach them how to fish. Now, I'm not against helping somebody who needs food. If somebody needs food, get them food. Okay. But what I really want to do is teach people how to grow their own food, how to fish, right? And in real estate sales, that's what the production model is all about. So this whole propertunity thing is an acknowledgement of the way we work and are incentivized as human beings. We, each and every one of us, do what's most important to us. But as individuals, we get to decide what that is. And often we know what that is. And sometimes people don't, and they got to work that out. But that's a process that you go through. Just the other day, watching a show, I heard a woman say she was happy for all the trials and tribulations of her youth and her young adulthood, because ultimately she sorted that out, and she would never be who she is today and never have the ethos that she has today that she's proud of and that she enjoys if it wasn't for all of that. So sometimes, it's a sorting out process. And that's, of course, this whole now model thing, learning how to do it. You got to sort it out. You got to put in the time. I mean, no one does a mini masters just like that, unless they're an intuitive. I've had some people, I tell them a few things, boom, they go off and do it, and it works. But that's not the norm. Okay. But again, I've never had someone who learned it, applied it regularly, who didn't get incredible benefit. What do I mean by incredible benefit? Well, 10x, 100x their earnings or their investment, or how about adding, and like I said earlier, another 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month to your bottom line. That's what I'm talking about, because if I can enable you to make more money, you're going to have more options in your life, and you're probably going to help more people. And together we're improving the world, changing the world. And that's really my mission as a coach, is to help people get more of what it is they want, so they don't have to settle for so much of whatever it is they just seem to get. Okay. And again, an opportunity property is a way to test that principle of benefit and interest, lean in. And if they're not interested in that property, if they're not going to buy that property, but acknowledging that, that has value in some way, shape, or form, it keeps me in the flow of information coming my way. versus people who've tuned out, turned off. When I see that's happened and there's nothing that can happen about it, I let them go and give them what they want. They don't want to continue chatting. That's fine with me. Why? Because I know there's more. I don't have to push anybody. I don't have to press anybody. I don't have to get anybody to do anything. I have to remain open to the three-dimensionality of opportunity. I have to be talking to people so that I have a chance. And I have to stay in discovery mode. I have to get information coming my way. And I have to do that today, each and every today that I'm in the business. And that is how it works. And so the whole opportunity thing is a big deal. And sometimes, agents say to me, well, I don't have a opportunity. Well, that's on you. Okay. If you get out there and you look, the MLS is there for you or whatever, you're going to identify some properties that have intrinsic value in some way. And you could say to somebody, what would you do if I told you about a property that would pay you to own it? You could say, what would you do if I told you about a property with the mother of all views? You could say, what would you do if I told you about a property that was in the most sought after school district in the Valley? You could say, da 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 da. You could keep going and going. Those are all ways of vending opportunity, of featuring a opportunity that has some intrinsic value. It's a threat to sell now for some reason, and then seeing where the conversation goes and learning the techniques on how to do that improvisationally. Do that, you're harnessing the high skill in the business. Do that, you're going to do more business than you otherwise would have done with far less breakage. That's the difference between a now model and a future model. I'm not against a future model. I'm against not having a now model. So with that message, I'm going to let you go, encourage you to get out there and make today pay, and I'll talk to you next time. So long, Fred Wilson checking out.